Title: The Husband Who Loved His Wife But Carried His Father's Curse. I was alone in my new office at Glass Hollow when the message came. My phone vibrated once, soft but heavy, like it already knew what it carried. When I opened it, my chest tightened. The message was short. It said she was pregnant. It was not from my wife, Aida. I stared at the screen until the words began to blur. My wedding ring pressed into my finger, tighter than it ever had before. The office felt too quiet. The walls were clean and new, yet I felt dirty sitting there. Outside, people walked past my glass door, laughing, working, living. None of them knew my life had just cracked open. I loved my wife. I had always loved her. That was the worst part. I did not hate her. I was not tired of her. I was not looking for another woman. Still, here I was, holding proof of a mistake that could not be undone. My hands shook as I placed the phone face down on the desk. I told myself this was not real. I told myself I could wake up from it. But deep inside, something older than fear stirred. It felt familiar, like a path already walked before I was born. That was the moment love stopped being enough. Before Glass Hollow, my life with Aida was simple and full. We laughed easily. We prayed together every night, even when we were tired. We planned our future in soft voices, lying side by side, dreaming like children who believed tomorrow would be kind. People admired our marriage. Friends said we were lucky. Family said we were blessed. There were no loud fights, no secrets, no shadows hiding between us. If there were cracks, they were too small to see. I truly believed we were different from others. Aida trusted me. That trust showed in how she spoke my name, how she waited for me, how she rested her head on my shoulder without fear. I carried that trust proudly, like a badge that proved I was not like my father. When I looked at our life back then, I saw peace. I saw safety. I saw a future that felt clean. That is why the fall hurt so much. You cannot understand loss unless you know what you are losing. We were not perfect, but we were whole. And that wholeness made what was coming feel cruel. Because nothing had warned us. Nothing had prepared us. We walked forward with open hands, not knowing what was already walking behind us. The transfer came as an answer to prayer. Or so I thought. My company offered me a promotion and posted me to Glass Hollow, far from Aramo Bay. It was a step forward, a chance to grow, a chance to provide more. Aida hesitated. I saw it in her eyes before she spoke. Distance scared her, but she loved me enough to agree. We prayed about it together. We promised each other faithfulness. I told her I would come home on weekends. She told me she trusted me. Nothing felt wrong then. We laughed as we packed my bags. She placed my clothes neatly, slipping notes between my shirts. On the day I left, she hugged me longer than usual. I remember thinking it was just love, not fear. Glass Hollow was bright and busy. Everything moved fast. I told myself I would adapt. I told myself distance would not change me. I believed that love could stretch without breaking. Looking back, I understand how quiet danger can be. It does not shout. It does not rush. It waits. And when it comes, it looks like opportunity, not evil. At that time, I thought we had done everything right. That belief made the fall deeper when it finally came. At Glass Hollow, Samaya Dane worked as a secretary in my department. She was calm, polite, and careful with her words. She never crossed lines. At least not at first. She asked simple questions. Had I eaten? Was I tired? Was the work too much? I answered briefly and kept my distance. I placed photos of Aida on my desk. I wore my ring clearly. I wanted no confusion. Samaya never touched me. She never flirted. That was what made it dangerous. Her concern felt safe, familiar. She noticed when I stayed late. She noticed when I looked tired. Loneliness is quiet. It does not beg. It sits beside you and waits for you to speak first. I told myself I was strong. I told myself I was different from my father. I remembered his stories, his mistakes, the children he left behind. I promised myself I would never repeat his life. Yet something about Samaya's presence felt like a slow pull. Not desire. Not love. just closeness. I did not run from it fast enough. That was my first mistake. Not the act itself, but the silence I allowed before it. The fall had no drama, no music, no passion. That is what scared me most. One late evening, the office was quiet. We were both tired. Words became fewer. Silence became longer. There was no plan, no promise. Just two people sitting too close for too long. When the line was crossed, it felt unreal, like watching myself from far away. I remember thinking, this is not me. But my body did not listen. Afterward, there was no joy, only weight. I went home that night and could not sleep. Aida called me, and I answered with a steady voice that felt like a lie. I told myself it was over. I told myself it would never happen again. I believed that one mistake could be buried. I did not know then that some mistakes are seeds. They wait quietly before they grow. Nothing about that night felt powerful. Felt weak. Ordinary. That is why it broke me later. Evil did not come as fire. Came as tiredness. And I had walked straight into it with my eyes open. When Samaya told me she was pregnant, my world tilted. She did not cry. She did not accuse me. She only looked tired and afraid. I could not blame her. I blamed myself. Yet beneath the guilt was something else. Something colder. Recognition. Felt like a story I had heard before. A road already drawn. I thought of my father, Bayo Moroi. His many children. His many women. His broken homes. I had sworn never to be him. Yet here I was, standing in the same place. The fear was not only about my marriage. It was about myself. About what lived inside me. I stopped eating well. I stopped sleeping well. Every message from home felt heavy. I loved Aida, but I could not face her. The pregnancy was proof that the past was not finished with me. That was when I understood that guilt alone could not explain what I felt. Something older had woken up, and it was calling my name. Aida noticed the change before I said anything. I spoke less. I smiled less. When I came home on weekends, my body was there, but my mind stayed far away. She did not shout. She did not accuse. That made it worse. Silence can hurt more than anger. We still ate together. We still prayed. But peace was gone. The house felt tight, like walls listening. I watched her study my face, searching for answers I could not give. I wanted to confess. I wanted to run. I wanted time to stop. Every night, I lay beside her and felt like a stranger. Not because she changed, but because I had. Emotional harm does not always leave marks. Sometimes it only steals warmth. I knew then that the truth would destroy something. I just did not know how much. When I finally told Aida, my voice shook. I told her everything. The transfer, the loneliness, the mistake, the pregnancy. She did not scream. She did not faint. She sat very still, like someone hearing bad news from far away. Then she cried, quietly, deeply, like something breaking inside her chest. That sound will never leave me. She asked one question. Why? I had no answer. That night, the house felt empty even though we were both there. I understood then that betrayal is not just about the act. It is about the future it steals. I watched my wife grieve a life she had not yet lived, and I knew I was the cause. Guilt became a dark place. I began to think about ending my life. I believed God would not forgive me. I believed my wife would be better without me. The thoughts came quietly, like suggestions, like rest. I scared myself. That fear pushed me to seek help. Not from a pastor, not from a doctor, but from an elder people spoke of in low voices. That decision saved my life. That is how I met Maru Kofi. He was old, calm, and patient. He listened more than he spoke. When I finished my story, he did not rush to judge me. He only nodded and asked me to sit. Forget the Bible for a moment, he said. That shocked me. He told me to sit, to breathe, to stop searching for excuses or quick answers. His words held weight. He asked about my family, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, their marriages, their pain. As I spoke, a pattern formed. Divorce, betrayal, broken homes. I felt sick. I told him about my father, his many women, his children outside marriage. The story sounded like my own. That was when the curse took a name. Bloodline is stronger than the mind, Marukofi said. He explained that patterns guide people before they choose. I listened in silence. Then he shared his own story, how he married late, how his father resisted, how he later understood why. He did not preach. He confessed. He made it clear I was guilty, but not random. Responsibility still stood, but understanding gave direction. I told Aida everything, not to escape blame, but to explain the war I had walked into without knowing. She listened. I accepted responsibility for the child, openly, fully. Hiding was over. Aida chose to stay, not because she forgot, but because she understood. Healing began slowly. The curse did not force me. It followed me until I saw it. And seeing it weakened its power.